Welcome to the Circuit of Success Podcast.
The Circuit of Success Podcast.
With your host,
Brett
Gilliland.
Brett Gilliland, Visionary Wealth Advisory.
The Circuit of Success Podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome to the Circuit of Success. I am your host, Brett Gilliland, and today I've got a repeat guest. Katie Lee's in the studio today. What's up, Katie?
Hi, thanks for having me. Am I
Absolutely.
good? Yeah.
You are good. There's been a lot changed. I think it was 18 months ago you were on the podcast.
Wow, yeah, lots happened.
And we even painted our walls and added some wood around here. We've dressed the place up a little bit.
It looks
Trying
good.
to step up our game. And you've got this. Look at this.
Yeah, I wrote a memoir.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's coming out in chapter magazine format. Kind of a cool vintage way to do it.
Yeah,
So.
I love it. I love it. I think it's a cool way. I didn't know it was the way they did it back in the day, but you educated me on that. So, well, now I can call you an author.
Yeah.
And I can call you the restaurateur that you are. You've got amazing stuff, and also now your consumer line that you've got in every Walmart basically. And
Well, I got the golden ticket.
Get the golden ticket.
Walmart golden ticket. And so we're working the deal and determining the path on that. But what's exciting about the golden ticket is it kind of legitimizes your brand because they have all the data and they have more data than I have on my company. And so when they give a company the golden ticket, they're saying this is where the trends are going, and you're doing the right thing. So
and talk about that process, because that wasn't easy.
So we drove down to Bentonville. It was an open call. Thousands of retailers from across the world were there. They set up the whole city, town for it. We didn't know what to expect. We went in for a 15-minute pitch. When we went in, we turned on our ovens. It was my chef, Jake, and I. And they came in 5 minutes before they were coming in and said, unplug your oven. There's fire code. You can't have an oven. We panicked. And then 2 minutes later, another woman came in and said, just plug it in. Like she knew something, you know. So we plug it back in, they come in, they taste everything. They were very tight-lipped the whole time. I was like, this isn't going well. I'm not feeling the energy.
Yeah.
And then the gentleman said, I'll be right back. I've got to go do something. And he came back with a camera crew, a real golden ticket, like Willy Wonka.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And bells and whistles, and they were like, congratulations, you just won the Walmart golden ticket for frozen pizza.
That is amazing.
It was cool. It was not expected.
Well, you think about that. So what'd you learn from that pitch that started off wrong, right? When they tell you, you can't do this, you probably rehearsed and did all the stuff to get ready. Now they tell you can't use the oven. What happened?
Well, I thought we're just going to have to pitch it without the product, which is unfortunate because it's so good.
Right. It speaks for itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we'd figure it out. Jake and I, we get thrown curveballs all the time.
I love it.
So in the restaurant business, that's all it is. It's constant curveballs.
So talk about The Last Stop. This is chapter 1. Again, love the fact that you're doing one chapter at a time. Talk about the book, what it's meant to you, and what made you do it.
Okay, well, I got asked to do it by a number of people. Have never written anything except journaling. I'm a big journaler.
Yeah.
And thought, and just didn't, there was a block in my head, you're not a writer, so you've got to find a ghostwriter. So I went and talked to a ghostwriter, did a couple of sessions with her, and then through those sessions just started writing on my own because it must have unlocked something. And I found out that I was actually a good writer and decided to write the book on my own, which was an incredible experience. It took me about a year. So wrote the whole thing. She ended up, now she's just editing. So I'm proud that I was able to do that.
Well, congratulations first off, because that is a huge deal, right? Because most people will just be like, here's a ghostwriter, slap my name on it, I'll tell you a few stories, make it sound pretty.
But it was really fun, and I have an interesting writing style, probably because I'm not a writer and didn't go through the educational system, so it's a unique voice. But basically what it's about is just my story, my path with my upbringing. My father was a junk picker. My mother was an artist. I dropped out of high school, had kind of a wild childhood, got into drugs and alcohol, worked in a lot of restaurants, lived in Italy, and then my father was also epileptic, so that's a big part of the story, is dealing with that, and his the brain damage and that came from that and his eventual passing. And then building the businesses, getting sober, building the businesses, having failures along the way. So there's a lot of pain, a lot of vulnerability, but nowhere in this will you read it coming off as a victim at all. Like, I'm very grateful for everything I've been through, and I understand how important pain is and how if you can lean into it, there's lots of lessons. So that's it. It's just all of that stuff that we all go through. You know, everybody, and people go through, you know, a million times more than that. But just leaning into the pain and never giving up.
What do you think made you lean into the pain?
Well, I think I just have a survival instinct, just to, I've got to make it, you know, and I think when you don't have maybe the safety nets, there is no choice, right? So you just, you know, I don't know, you just feel like you can't give up, and you feel like you have to learn from everything. And my father, you know, being epileptic and the struggles that he went through, I grew up in this environment of a tremendous pain watching him, and so were they married, your mom and dad? They were married. They got divorced when I was 10.
Okay.
And then my brothers and I lived 50-50 with each. An unusual custody agreement. It was one day with mom, the next day with dad, so every other. So we woke up in one house and went to bed in the other. And we did that our childhood. And so it was that was a little difficult as well. But again, it strengthened us, and it was like boot camp for figuring out. Literally School of Hard Knocks type stuff. Yeah. So what do you think about you is different that you've pulled this off, right? And not because you're still grinding, you're still on the journey, right? And you're still challenging yourself, which I love. But you know, you've quote unquote made it. But why? Why you? What do you think it was that was put into you from your family, from your upbringing? Because there's a lot of people that had the same School of Hard Knocks, and it went completely the other direction, right? Yeah, I think just the right recipe of mentors in my life, the right experiences at the right time. I think sobriety is huge. I mean, I wouldn't be anywhere without sobriety. And just going through addiction and hitting a bottom and all of those things, it's just a culmination of the right people in my life, you know, that taught me the right lessons, with taking me all the way to the edge without, you know, going past it. And then sobriety's huge. Sobriety is the reason I'm here today. But you got to want that, right? Because I mean, you can say I want to be sober, and it's impossible for somebody that I'm assuming got to the level you got. If you said you hit rock bottom, a lot of people don't come out of that, though. No, they don't. It's a miracle for sure. I mean, they say that only 5% of addicts can get sober. I think it's less. I think it's more like 1. I think it's just a miracle when it happens. You're saying one person can get sober? Is that what you said? 1%. 1%, sorry. 1%, yeah. And that's my experience. I attempted to get sober pretty young. It took me 7 years. It took me treatment centers, hospital visits, being homeless, living in a halfway house for 6 months, all those things. And I saw enough addicts, and my father was recovered, and saw enough people to know that most of the people that you know, I lived in this halfway house with passed away. And just watching enough people die and watching enough people not be able to survive, I believe it's a miracle when someone can get it. So I don't want to say that I did anything different, except that I just got lucky. Do you remember the point where you were sitting there and you said to yourself, like, Katie, enough of this shit? Right? Like, I've got to turn this around, or I'm going to be dead like the rest of them. Yeah, that would be the first chapter. And I go through the whole story where I end up living in this halfway house, homeless. I'm living there for about a month. I relapse again. They kick me out. The last place I can go is a state-run facility that's free in Hannibal, Missouri, and I'm in a room that's locked with cinder block walls and 3 cots and 2 other women. One is And we're just smoking cigarettes, and the windows barely cracked for 3 days. And I finally call my mom, and I'm like, you got to help me. You got to get me out of here. And she just hangs up the phone. And she did that because, you know, you've got to detach from the addict in order for them to find themselves, find God. You know, they can't have anyone else. So she does this really,
so hard on a mom,
really
right?
brave thing. So brave. I mean, it took her 10 years to be able to get to that point where she enabled. And then she was finally able to do that brave thing. And that click from mom was like, I wrote about it. It wasn't like, we're worried about you that you're dying. The click was like, you're dead. We know you're dead. We know you're going to die. And that feeling of like, they've all assumed that I'm done for, I think something clicked in my brain, and I've been sober ever since.
It's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is a big deal. Last time you were on the podcast, you said you had a goal to be in every grocery store, and I remember that sticking out, like, you know, like the passion and the
manifesting.
I'm like, and that was where I was going to go with that. So do you believe in the manifestation of that, the visualization of that? Because I'm going to be in every grocery store.
Yeah. 100%. And I'm on my way. And it's much more real than it was before. Like right now I'm in 600 doors. I've probably got another 1,500 that I'm going to get by the end of the year that we're working on. And then once you sort of, you know, get the ball rolling, it's pretty exciting. The
velocity starts going. So what are you kicking down doors these days?
We're kicking down doors.
And you just got to find the prospects, right? Find the people.
Yeah, and we go to expos. We just went to a big one in California, and all of the buyers and the retailers are there, and you meet with them. But our brand it's 5 years old, actually, and so it's starting to become, you know, a thing that everyone knows about. In fact, Target said to us the other day, I'm sorry, not Target, Whole Foods said to us the other day, we feel like we're very late to the party, so we're getting in all the Whole Foods.
Decent brain to tell you that.
Yeah, I know. It feels good.
So I think this story, and I'm not just saying this because we're sitting here on the podcast, so I've interviewed 429 people over the last, whatever it's been, 7-8 years. And every, you know, from Hall of Fame athletes to Hall of Fame business people to you name it, right? Dr. Eberline from Siteman Cancer Center was just there 30 minutes ago. Amazing human beings. And I think your story is and I appreciate you sharing your story and being transparent and vulnerable, because that's what's going to sell the pizza. Yeah. Right? I mean,
it's origin story.
Yeah.
It's people connecting with something, and that's what everyone craves right now with the way the world has changed and we're becoming disconnected. And but origin stories since the beginning of time have really been important for brands. And so that's, I think, why people kept asking me to write this thing. And then as I was writing it, it just felt like the more vulnerable I can get and real, the more I'm going to be able to connect with everyone, because I truly believe everyone goes through all of this. As dramatic as this book may seem, you know, we all have moments in our life like it. So, and if you then you feel heard and you feel like you're connected to somebody.
Yeah. It is amazing. So I've dealt with anxiety most of my life, and it's amazing the more I've shared over the last decade of that, how many people you build this like bond with, right? And but it's how much it's also helped me. You always, I don't know if you ever really truly overcome it, but it's helped me, like it's become like a friend, right?
Yeah.
And so it's amazing how that works.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool. And people, the first chapter is really the one that everyone's read so far, and the connections I'm getting from all walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty astounding.
Amazing. You had another big announcement, the Martha Stewart, I'm not going to say it right, but the Martha Stewart stuff. Tell us about that.
So PR firm, new PR firm, Magrino. They're based in New York City. I have a local PR firm as well, but this PR firm signed me on about a month ago. Yeah. And Susan Magrino is responsible for Martha Stewart since the very beginning. So I thought that's a great fit.
She's done okay. I said, do you still want to be on the Circle of Success podcast after all of this? I don't know. Maybe not. But, so that's really cool. So how do you train your mind to stay resilient? I mean, you dealt with a lot of obstacles, right? Yeah. So how have you done that throughout your career?
Well, you have to just stay in the present moment, right? You just can't worry too much about resilience. I think comes from just being able to cope with what is right in front of you and not worry about things that you can't control.
Yeah.
It's just like baby steps one day at a time. So
that's hard to do though, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Has there been
I'm
a time?
a worrier too, and I have anxiety, but meditation and just just remembering. I think I talked about this last time, that everything's always okay. You know, you could look back at your life and we're sitting right here. Everything is always okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for years I've been saying how many of the fears you put in your mind have blown up to the magnitude you put them in your mind to be. The answer is 0.
Right.
Right. But warriors or anybody, I think anybody that's charging successful, I shouldn't say everybody, but most, we always put these things up here in our mind that are going to happen. Like, what if this thing do? What if and you spend so much time and energy on it, and in reality is we don't deal with those things.
Yeah. You got to conserve your energy.
Yeah, for sure. What advice would you have for somebody right now that's dealing with self-doubt?
I think, here's the thing. I've met a million, tons of people, especially being in restaurants. I, run across hundreds of people a day, and I am starting to meet really, impressive people in the business world. And I would say they're all really just like you and the same. And there was always this feeling, this imposter syndrome, like I was like, couldn't even call myself a chef or a restaurateur for many years because it just didn't feel right. And then I started to meet chefs and restaurateurs, and they're just the same. And so you're as capable as anybody else. I've met maybe 1 or 2 brilliant people. The rest of us are just
normal
people. And as long as you stick with something, you can do. Yeah, you shouldn't have any doubt about your capabilities.
I think though the what makes it different where it's not normal is the vision that you have, right? I mean, I think back of my career, it's vision, it's passion, it's being okay with, sharing the ideas that you have and people telling you they're not great ideas and some people believing in your ideas. And I've always said I'm very open and very public about what I'm working on and what I'm doing.
I am too.
And I think, with Beyond, right, over here, it's like this has been 2.5 years in the making. And, our firm was even years before that in the making. Yeah. It's like, but you got to have the vision, you got to have the plan, but you got to trust yourself and just take action.
You just got to, absolutely. Right. And you can't, it's great to have people give you advice and all of that, but, just take it in and take what you need from it and stay. If you believe in something, that's really the most important thing. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yep. Yeah, and showing up every day and just doing it.
Showing up every day. And I will say that, yes, you got to show up every day. And you gotta
even when you don't want to.
Yes, even when you don't want to, but when you're an entrepreneur, you want to.
Yeah, you do. That's true.
You just run 1,000,000 miles per hour. Yeah.
I love the craziness of being an entrepreneur, though. Like the journey throughout the days of the million different things that may come up. That's what keeps me going.
It's hysterical if you write it down and you look back at, the things that have happened in the past week and the things you've done and kind of how all over the board it can be. It can be kind of pretty funny. Yeah.
What if you had a magic wand and or a magic pen and paper and you could write out your 5-year vision? What do you see 5 years from now for Katie Lee?
Okay, here we go. Well, listen, the writing of this book was probably the most meaningful thing I've done, besides obviously being a mother and watching my team, do incredible things. I love watching people do great things, but the writing was maybe
therapeutic.
It was therapeutic, but it was just really fun, and it was very just an incredible creative experience. So if I could continue writing, that would be great. If the book could get national awareness, hopefully through Magrino, and they seem to know what they're doing, and that would be very exciting. The CPG line is still very takes a lot of my attention and energy just because of the magnitude and the possibilities of it. Yep. So like I said, we're still working on that every retailer. We're going to do that. Yeah. And then I love being a restaurateur as well, and I have a new restaurant I'm building in Crestwood and a couple other projects that I haven't announced yet that I'm working on, but to
Illinois side. Oh.
Yeah. To be able to take the concept to different cities, I think that's probably going to happen as well.
What are you doing right now personally to work on yourself?
Right now I'm in kind of because I have so much going on, I am maybe neglecting that a little bit, but I'll tell you what works for me is being in nature. I've talked about that before, hiking and just being silent and present. And I think you get a lot of clarity and a lot of answers. So the more, that's the hope is that I can start to take more time to do that, because I think that is another reason for my success. I think when you're by yourself, quiet, with the power of nature, you can realize a lot of great things, and creativity and inspiration comes from that. I'm very healthy, so active. I train 5 days a week.
Nice.
And then I've got all of the crazy new longevity gadgets.
Yes. Talk to me about those.
The cold plunge. I've got a sauna. I've got red lights. I've got the oxygen mask.
Okay, I don't have that one, the oxygen mask.
Oh, yeah, while you're on the Peloton.
Yeah.
And it's like doing a hyperbaric chamber. It brings oxygen.
So where do you get the mask? Like, is it
online?
Just buy it online? And
and it has oxygen tank and the whole thing.
Yeah, I've
but
seen
I'm
a lot
very
of that.
into all of that new stuff, and it's amazing now that there's so much access to all that information.
Yeah.
And what biohacking and all of that. It's fascinating and it feels really great. So I do a lot of that stuff.
Friends of ours over here at ARIA, they have the cryotherapy and a big red light therapy bed. The thing's amazing.
Yep, I do all that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when
you know what? Sorry to interrupt, but you're like when you get to this level of craziness and you have all these projects going, you have to treat your body and your mind almost like an athlete to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Or let me ask you this: do you struggle with when you're doing all that stuff? Because me and a couple of buddies will joke, and it's like I could do all these hacks till like noon, but it's like that doesn't work, right? And so it's like, do you beat yourself up over taking time for that? And if not, how did you get over that?
I just fit it into my life. I'm lucky enough that I can have a lot of this stuff in my home.
Yeah.
So I fit it in the morning or evening. And then if I can't do it, I can't do it. Yeah.
I like that. See, that's the progress over perfection, right? Sometimes that's where I beat myself up. It's like, okay, I know I need to be doing these things, but it's like, crap, I'm doing them now. I know I need to be at work. And it's like, gosh, damn, just relax, dude.
Well, and then there's always really time. There really is, because we spend so much time now consumed by those phones that if you just take a couple hours off that, there's plenty of time.
That's a good point. Cold plunge, do you hate it every time you do it?
Hate it every time. Did 3 minutes last night.
It's brutal.
It's brutal.
I don't think it gets easier. I see these people on Instagram where they like get right in it. I'm like, if you had a camera on me, I'm like, I look like the most horrific person on earth.
Oh, I know,
like,
and they're calm. And they're probably going to come out in 5 years and say it doesn't work.
Right, exactly. Like, suckers. You've been getting this cold water and it does nothing. But I feel different after it, and I love a sauna session.
There's a dopamine hit for sure. And travel's great. I've been spending a lot of time in Italy, which is great for work and inspiration.
Yeah.
And Europe has a much more present feeling than America
the
does.
hustle and bustle. And, how do you, as a mother and an entrepreneur, you have strategies or anything you do to stay present in both?
Gosh, it's just a lot to juggle. It's really a lot. And, I worry all the time if, I'm doing it correctly. I'm sure all parents do. But it's when I have her, and so I don't schedule anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty clear when I tell people this is the reason,
Yeah.
Because I only get 50% of my time with her. So when I have her, I've got to be with her.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's just
and if they don't understand it, then you don't want to be around that person anyway.
Right. And that's just the rule. That's just the rule for meetings and everything else. And then the rest of the time, it's, I've got to go super speed to pack it all in.
Right. Yeah. Which I think that's also helpful too, because you've got to like bring that sense of urgency to everything you do.
Oh yeah. And
how do you create that? Create a sense of urgency, do you think?
I just have, probably an unhealthy attitude that comes from, some things that happened growing up. I would say just a I really, it's all unhealthy. I want to become something.
Yeah.
I want to show everybody, I remember being a kid and not having enough and going to a school where people had more and being like, someday I'm going to have as much as them. So I think, again, it's just this, like, I got lucky with these right experiences at the right time that made me, very, very, very driven.
What do you think makes it unhealthy?
Well, I think it's your priorities are to maybe a little off. Maybe I need to calm down and not worry so much about, being a success or showing anybody anything. Just, show myself is probably enough, but it's still in there.
I think it's okay. I think
okay.
it's like, again, your story, the 429 people, it's one of my favorites. I mean, it's,
Thank you.
You've really, built this thing from nothing, right? From literally nothing. It's like somebody said, hey, here's 10 restaurants, take it and run with it. Like, you built it.
Yeah, for sure. Very proud of that. And I've got a great team and a great family. And I'm aware of my character defects. And that's all you can do is just recognize them and use them for good.
So you talked about your team. How do you attract and retain top talent?
Well, treating people well, and of course I wouldn't say I've always treated people well. I wouldn't say I've always been a good leader. In fact, I wasn't. And I've gone through periods of high turnover and not understanding how to motivate people or treat people correctly. But, in the last 8-9 years, just treating people really well. COVID was very instrumental in that because when COVID hit, and we were really feeling like restaurants were, we had to shut down. I mean, it was a mandate. And so that was terrifying, and that turned into the pivot to the CPG, the frozen pizza line. But in order to accomplish that in 72 hours and keep everybody working, we had to all work as a team. And it was like one of those moments out of like the great sports movies, or like a war movie where you all come together and you all just work, put aside your differences. And when I realized that the reason that we made it and succeeded was because of the people, not anybody else, the people on that team. And that's when I knew, like, I've got to take very good care of them. And obviously I have visions that are outrageous and I want to do incredible things, and the only way that's going to get done is with people believing in it and feeling good about it. So treating people well, giving people opportunities, and letting them do their job, get out of the way. Getting out of the way, 100%. And we are attracting incredible talent. So we just attracted the chef de cuisine from San Francisco's Flour and Water, one of the best Italian restaurants in the country. Wow. Yeah, he just moved here. Kerry McDowell from Wrights and Louie, he came on board. We have another guy who we're very excited about, a pasta chef from one of the best pasta restaurants in the country who's going to be moving here. And then we just hired Chris Kelling, who had Elmwood and worked at Niche, and he's going to run the front of house. To be able to attract those people is like, it blows my mind, because when I first opened, we couldn't get anyone to apply. And no one really
people from California moving here.
Yeah, people moving here, and the great talent in St. Louis, asking if we've got a spot for them, because they see that I am giving opportunity to Jake and all of these people, and I am doing all these projects, and it's a great place for people to realize their potential.
So when you have these big, crazy dreams and visions that you talked about, what do you do with those? Like, do you have a process with that, or you just kind of let them marinate upstairs in the brain and then...
Yeah, no, I journal. I like to write things out. I believe that a pen and paper is a great tool for manifestation. Visualize things, and then just start taking baby steps, working towards it. Not all of them are realized. Some of them turn into other projects, and that's always cool and exciting to see. But I just begin. Yeah. Like, I just take a step and begin it.
Yeah. So it's funny. So the circuit of success, hence the name of the podcast, it's your attitude, your belief system, the actions you take ultimately get results. So my first year in the business, I had a very successful first year as a young financial advisor in St. Louis. The second year, I'm not sure how they didn't fire me. Like, I have no clients, but I said, how can I take success, keep it fenced in, and build this deal around it? And that's what it came up with. So back in 2003 is when the Circuit of Success was launched. Not the podcast, but just the thought, right? This framework. And so I'm hearing a lot of that from you today. Your attitude, your beliefs, right? Your actions are ultimately getting you the results, right? So when you hear that play out, what comes to mind for you?
You know that anything's possible. It really is an amazing thing when you start to work that little system out, and you can take an idea and watch it unfold and watch it manifest. Then it's almost like a personal testimonial of this is the recipe for it. And then you believe in it so much that you start to implement it across all areas of your life and all ideas. And like I said, they all can really take hold or pivot into something better. And also that the idea of everything happens for a reason. There can be disappointments, but you can turn them into something else. It's I remember this too from our last podcast, which I love this, and I'm a lot like this as well, is you have the recipe and different things on your wall, right? And people have given you feedback in the past, like, hey, take that down, they're going to steal your idea. And it's like, good luck, right? You're not going to do it. So talk about that a little bit. Well, there's so much that it, is a business. It's not just the product. It is the origin story. It's the group of people. It's the belief system of the company. It's the way that we express ourselves. It's
the decorating of the restaurant.
It's the marketing. It's the hospitality, right? It's so many things, so many characters, so many moments, that to be able to take a recipe off a wall and recreate Katie's Pizza is an impossible thing to do without the location, the team, myself, and the whole thing.
That's right.
So,
It's great. If your dad were still here, what would he be saying about everything that you're doing right now?
Well, he'd want to know where his cut is.
Where's my cut?
Where's my cut? And he'd get his cut. No. He would be he was one of those people, like, if he had copies of this, he'd get boxes of them. He'd pass them out to strangers. So cute. So
That's
excited. Awesome. I think he wouldn't be able to believe it, but I think it would be very overwhelming for him. He was always very worried about this stuff getting to my head. So he made sure to counterbalance it with not maybe expressing it to me and letting me know none of this really matters, and what matters is who you are and you know what you do with your family and who you are as a mother. So he would be very good at I think balancing me right now and bringing perspective on what's important. But then if he wasn't around me, he'd be passing everything out and bragging.
That's awesome. Like he should. What legacy do you want to leave behind? Nadia, is that her name, correct?
Nadia.
What legacy do you want to leave behind for little Nadia?
I want her to know that anything's possible, but I want her to also really understand the importance of hard work and the way the world works and how important pain and struggle is. So figuring out how I'm going to give that to her when she's growing up in a different environment than me is going to be tricky. But I think right now the most important thing is that she just gets a lot of love, and she just gets to see how much the infinite potential that the world has to offer anybody. And that I just want her to feel loved and feel like she can do anything. So if I can lead by example and give her that would be the best.
Well, I think it's, I've got 4 kids, so I've got a 19, 17, 15, almost 15, and almost 11. And So while they've watched,
We're almost done.
I know, it's crazy. They've watched us grow a firm, a wealth management firm, the boys. But then this last 6 months, they've watched my wife and I work really hard together on Beyond, and it's just really, I think it's cool because I always talk about there is no work-life balance. I don't think sometimes you're all in on this one thing, or you're all in on your family, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Our work-life balance has not been great because I've been at come here to go to work all day, and then it's Beyond stuff at night, or my wife and I are up here.
About it.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But I also think there's the cool part is they see us working on that, right? Or she sees you working really, really hard. No matter what you say, she's going to physically have watched it.
Oh my gosh. And we repeat patterns. I mean, we that's how we learn. The most important people that we learn from are our parents. So that's going to be hopefully the gift I give her, is her watching my work ethic, watching how I treat people, watching me dream big, and just, like I said, do the action.
Yep.
On the New Year's Day, we went to the bookstore, got a bunch of magazines, and we both made vision boards.
That's exactly what we did on New Year's Day.
No way.
Yeah, my wife and I went to the Barnes & Noble's, got a ton of magazines, and we cut them all out, and we've got them all on our...
out. She got her poster board, I got mine.
Yep.
We spent 3 hours, built a fire, just had fun, and just did it. And I don't even think she's 6. I don't even quite know if she knew what she was doing, but she just eventually started to figure it out, was watching what I was doing, started to maybe copy or be influenced by that. And then before you know it, she's got her vision board, I've got mine, and we're talking about it and showing it off to people when they come to the house. And the funniest thing was she said to me, she goes, if you look at my vision board, it looks like I want to be a zookeeper, but I don't.
A lot of animals in here. A lot of animals. What did you find you going to mostly for that?
It's so inspiring to just take all the barriers down and do really big things, and then it just sinks in, and you feel like you are unstoppable. That's what I love about those. But the book was a big one for me on the vision board. The life that I want to give Nadia, the life that I want to have, and then all of the opportunities I want to see for my team.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's the biggest misconception you think people have about owning a restaurant?
Well, I mean, I think everybody knows it's not easy, right? Mm-hmm. It's absolutely one of the hardest businesses. Oh, here's the misconception that you're going to get rich. You're not. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of locations. It takes a lot of strategy. It takes many years. Yeah. And I think people think that you just open this restaurant and it's a gold mine, and they're
prints money.
Right, and they're very hard to do, and they're very hard to make work, and they're very hard to make profitable. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think that the challenge is just the experience that you create for people. Because anybody can have a good pizza or what, but it's the experience, right?
Yeah.
So how do you focus on that?
Well, you just are constantly drilling it in their heads, and we do a ton of meetings before shift about hospitality, about what that means. A lot of conversations around it. And then there's, a lot of structure. Here is how you treat a guest. Here's how you talk to them. Here's how you make sure that they have, you're never upselling. You don't ever want to add the crab cake just so that you get the chat cup. Yeah. You want to look at what they've ordered and figure out how you can make the meal better, or how you can make the experience better, or and then making sure that you have a team that is really knowledgeable about everything. So lots of testing and lots of talks and lectures. We don't have a uniform, and I would say that that's really interesting because it lets people be themselves, and then their personalities come out a lot more with that. And that's always cool. You want to go to a place and meet a real person and meet a character. Yeah. And so I think you get that at our restaurants.
Yeah. Well, I think too, the cool thing about it, and I go to the one in by Ballpark Village because of where I live, but I mean, when you're there, you don't feel like you're in St. Louis.
I don't think so.
No. And I'm assuming the new one is going to be like that as well.
Yeah, but Ballpark is really something. I was down there all day yesterday, and it's it's really got great energy.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Looking forward to Cardinals opening day.
So excited.
Yeah.
Next week. Are you going down?
I probably will be down there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah,
it's a national holiday. National holiday at our house.
Yeah.
Recent moment that's challenged you the most as a leader, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I mean, so many. Probably, you know, I just got 100% ownership of my company, and that was a battle to get it on many levels over many years. And
It's a victory.
It was a victory, but it was a struggle for my team as well, because in order to get to that place, we couldn't expand as quickly as we wanted. We couldn't do all of the things. We were kind of handcuffed a little bit. And I think that for me to be able to convince them, like, this is going to work out, we're going to make it, because at times it did not feel like it, and that we are going to be able to build again. And that, you know, was a long time of them kind of waiting and believing.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very hard.
Well, and again, trust the process.
Trust the process, yep. And again, great
control the
learning.
emotions.
Great learning from painful moments.
And that was going to be one of my final questions is you look back at the last 18 months since we've been together. I mean, you've got all the grocery stores you've been in, now the book, all the stuff going on. What's been the biggest learning that you've learned about yourself?
The biggest thing I've learned about myself is that, well, oh gosh, so many things, but I probably can't, you know, that I can't do it on my own, right? And that how important the team is, and that at some point you have to take breaks, right? You can just really overdo it trying to save the day and make things work, and taking time for yourself. Yeah.
That's a good one. Where do our listeners get more of The Last Stop by Katie Lee?
Okay, so that's chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5 are on. When is this airing?
Probably in a couple weeks.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
KatieLeeStory.com.
KatieLeeStory.com.
Yep. So you can read it all digitally, and you can subscribe to the full book, all 15 chapters of all of the good, you know, great stories building this thing.
And will it eventually be a book?
Yes.
So once at the end, all 15 will be that we'll buy the book.
So the magazines will either be put together in a beautiful way.
I can see these. These are going to be on the wall and some cool stuff.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And then, we're working on hopefully getting a publishing deal, and you never know, maybe movie rights. Hey, I should have added that in my 5-year movie.
We'll add it right now in your 5-year.
We're going to do a movie.
That would be, who's going to play Katie Lee?
I don't know who's going to play me, but I really I want Bill Murray to play my father.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, Bill, when you're listening to this.
He's coming in town.
He's a Cub
if I
fan.
run into him, I'm going to ask him.
You get him. Can we get a movie deal going? And so anybody listening to this have connections to Bill Murray or getting a movie made, let us know. What does this mean? What is this?
That's chapter 3. That's the chapter where I went to Italy and lived in Italy with my mother for the first time. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then, so she was an art teacher in Florence, Italy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Katie, where do our listeners find more of you?
On Instagram is where I, post my whole life and everything that's happening. So Katie Pizza Lee or Katie's Pizza and Pasta.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for coming back on The Circuit of Success.
You.
Fun having you.
It's been really fun.